All right, welcome to Strong Start Training. I'm super excited to get to meet some new faces. My name is Julie Ritter, and I've been doing Pampered Chef in August. It will be 23 years. I started when I was pregnant and had a baby at home, and both of those children are married and living out of state, living their best life. But man, it was such a treat to be able to do Pampered Chef as I raised my kids. I stayed home with them, and this was and continues to be my full-time job. I started Pampered Chef so I could make a car payment, and now I pay the mortgage, I pay retirement, and put a lot of money in savings. So Pampered Chef has exceeded every expectation I ever had. I have no sales background. I was an elementary school teacher for 3 years before I had kids. And then, like I said, I've just been home with them, and now I can't afford to go back to teaching, and nor do I want to. My husband is an elementary school teacher, so I still get to enjoy the perks of the school year and the buzz of all of that and the fun that comes with that. But I tell you a little bit about my story just so you know that I'm just like you. We started with the same kit. We started with the same fears, possibly the same apprehension. And I hope today that I give you a little bit of direction on where to put your energy and the things that you can do so you can be most successful. And my real goal is to help you think bigger and to realize that you could get more out of this Pampered Chef business than maybe you even imagined. Like maybe you signed up and just thought, well, I mean, I'd love to get like an air fryer. Like that could be like the tip of the iceberg of what you could get. So we will have Q&A at the end, but if you have questions that are like just burning, drop them in the chat bar, interrupt me. I like interaction. I don't need to just talk for 30 minutes straight. So if you want to, please pipe in, please raise your hand, wave your arms, whatever you want to do. So we feel like we're more interacting. So I want to just tell you, I'm going to be peeking at my notes over here on the screen so I don't miss anything. But I just want to tell you that you have a shiny new business one time. You get one chance to start your business strong. And so the tips I'm going to share with you today, some of them might feel like they're going to stretch you, and that's okay because you only get to start once. And I think of Pampered Chef business like an airplane getting off the ground. And if you have flown very much, you know, an airplane is on a runway, and to get off the ground, it needs speed and momentum. And you get speed and momentum by going fast. And so I'm going to give you some tips on like, let's get out the door. Let's do this, right? And so once that plane gets up off the ground, it can set itself to cruising altitude and pick whatever pace it wants. But to get this business off the ground, I'm going to ask you to do some things that might feel fast. Just know that there's a point to that, and it's because we're looking for momentum. We're looking for excitement. And our goal for you is within the first 2 weeks of your business, you will have paid off your kit. And this month, if you signed up in May, you'll actually get a rebate, and you'll get your commission and a whole bunch of products. So again, we're not looking to take a month or two to get this off the ground. We're wanting you to get this thing going. And some of you, raise your hand, have already started parties, right? I think Wendy's party's already underway. I heard several of you probably have parties underway. Like there's no better time, like boom, order your kit, let's go. So first of all, the business works best in parties. So what do I mean by that? Maybe you saw today in our team page, we're doing a mix and chop challenge, and our goal is to sell 20 mix and chops by Saturday. That's fine. That's good for residual bonus sales, but we can't build a business selling one mix and chop at a time. How will we sell and build a business is in the form of a party. So instead of selling one-on-one, we want to sell 1 on 20, 1 on 30. So everything we talk about today is with the goal of parties. And most trainings you're going to hear in Dash, which I hope you've jumped into the Dash Training Center, and the things that you're going to hear in our meetings, it's going to keep pushing you back to parties because that's where the magic happens, and that's where you build a real business. So parties need what? Hostesses or host. So where will you find your host? Well, you start with the people you already know. And so if you have a piece of paper nearby, if you can just jot down a few little things I'm going to tell you, and then we'll go into great detail later, like when you hang up from here, you can build on this. But what I like to refer new consultants to is the Frank's list. So think of the man, Frank, his name, Frank's, and you're going to write down the side of your paper, F-R-A-N-K-S, Frank's. And I'm going to tell you, 22 years in, there's still times I pull back out a Frank's list. and I look at it, and it's one of the best ways to brainstorm. Who do you already know? Who can you do business with? So what I'm going to do is trigger a few categories of people, and I want you to write down the first 3 to 5 names that come to mind for you without any prejudging, without you thinking, oh, wait, no, I'm not going to write that name down. Write down every name that pops in your mind so that it may trigger a different name later. No one's going to see this list but you. So don't be afraid of writing a name down and then being obligated to something, okay? So F for Frank's first one is friends. Friends. So I want you to write the name down of your best friend. And I'm going to go fast so we get through this and that you don't overthink it. I want you to write down the name of the friend you've known the longest. Who's like your oldest friend, elementary school, junior high, whoever. And if there's more than one, put as many names as you can think of. How about your newest friend? Who is a new person you've met recently that's become a friend? Can you write down the name of a friend who's recently hosted a home party? Write down the name of a friend who, if we weren't in quarantine and if people weren't social distancing, who would host a Memorial Day barbecue? Who's the social one? That sort of thing. So hopefully you have 3 to 5 names there. We're going to keep going. And again, you'll revisit this list later tonight or tomorrow. Next in Frank is R. R stands for relatives. So I want you to, and remember, you don't have to like a relative to write their name on here. We'll just write them down anyway. But we will start with who's your favorite relative. So write down relative that's your favorite. How about write the name of a relative who lives the furthest from you, but still in the United States? The relative that lives closest to you. What relative would have hosted Easter if you had a Easter this year? What relative hosts Christmas? What relative likes to cook? What relative's on Facebook the most? You getting the idea? Different names, different. Don't forget cousins and aunts, in-laws, outlaws, all the things, okay? Next is A, so F-R-A. A stands for acquaintances or associates. So I want you to think of acquaintance. I often think of this as coworkers. So who do you currently work with if you were going to your job? Write down 2 people you'd have lunch with if you were at work right now. How about if you work in an office building, who do you share a cubicle with, or who's nearby you there? How about who was with you at your previous job before the job you're at now? And associates is also like, who would you see at the bus stop if your kids were going to school and you were in a carpool that will happen again someday? Whose name would you see? And sometimes you don't even know the person's name, but it's the lady with the big dog or the lady with the truck. So you're just looking for as many associates or acquaintances that you would put on here. And I want to just be really honest with you. The acquaintance category on your Frank's list is sometimes your biggest. Sometimes we think it's our very best friends that are going to come through for us. And hopefully and often they do. But your acquaintance category could be really big and bring you a lot of business, and they're maybe well connected in circles that you're not. Okay, so don't overlook the acquaintance. We'll keep moving, but again, you're going to revisit this list later. N stands for neighbors. And I want you to think, some of you, maybe you live out in the middle of the country, but if you don't, think like who lives to your right. And if you don't know their name, again, describe them, lady with the red car or whatever. Who lives to your left? Who lives across the street? It doesn't look like we're writing down a lot of neighbors. Maybe we're not very neighborly. I don't know. Think too, here's a biggie. How about neighborhood businesses? If you are not doing business where you do business, you're going to want to do that, right? Irene's on, she'll pipe in and tell you, yes. I will tell you, when my kids were little, we knew all the grocery store ladies. They would give my kids cookies and they booked parties with me. I just left the post office earlier today and gave a catalog to my favorite lady at the post office. So if you don't have neighbors, like in the true sense, lady across the street, you're not doing block parties, who do you know from your neighborhood? Grocery store, bank, and maybe I'm just going to challenge you as you're launching your business to park some more and walk into some places someday when we can. If we can walk into a Starbucks ever again, walk into the bank instead of driving through. So just think of where, if I do business, can I do business? Do you get your hair cut? Do you get your nails done? That kind of thing. Okay.
So I like to drop off catalogs to like my dentist, to my hair girl, my nail girl, all those kind of fun places, kind of like what Julie is saying, like anywhere that I do business, I'm like, hey, did you know that I do Pampered Chef? And then I leave a catalog. At the dentist, I occasionally like to take brownies in there with little catalogs so they can kind of take a look and, you know, make it fun.
I love it. I mean, you'll be memorable, right? Like that lady brought us brownies, right? Like super cool. So sometimes people think they don't know enough people, but if you think of the average places you go in a week, if there's a body there, there's opportunity there. So just kind of put on your like radar that you're going to be out looking and intentional for business. Okay, so we've done F-R-A-N-K. K stands for kids. If you do not have kids, do you have pets? If you don't have kids and you don't have pets, do you have nieces or nephews or godchildren or something? But basically we want to know, who do we know from our kids? So for those that have kids, think of who are their friends' moms. So when I would take my kids to a play date, who is the mom that I was coordinating play date with? Am I going to strike up a conversation about Pampered Chef? Heck yeah. Who's on the soccer team with my kids? Who are those? Again, we're not doing sports right now. I know Irene would tell you too. Tons of leads from that, from baseball leagues, soccer leagues, whether we're going for fundraisers or what have you. Now my kids are older and married now. Guess what I'm doing? I'm going after their in-laws. So you get to know your kids' people. And when your kids are younger, who's their doctor, who's their dentist, who's their school teacher, who's their coach. You might know more connections through your kids than you realize. I think there's some value to our kids, right? Like, let's use them. Let's use them for some good things. And let's talk pets for a minute. You know, maybe there's an animal rescue group. Maybe there's a dog park you go to regularly. Your vet, my groomer, loved my dog. And I did talk Pampered Chef with my groomer. So just, again, I'm looking for you to think of the webs that you know and the people you can connect with. All right, last letter, hang in there. In Frank's is S, and S stands for sibling or spouse. So think for a minute, if you don't have a spouse, maybe a boyfriend, significant other, whoever, but who do you know from your spouse or significant other, like who were their college friends, who are their relatives? I mean, you could Frank's list your siblings or your spouse, who's their friends, who's their relatives, who's their acquaintance, who's their old neighbors, who do they know from their kid contacts or pets? So really make sure you're not just thinking of you. My husband's a school teacher, I told you earlier. Man, the teachers at his school that have done business with me, huge. And I know Irene's husband works at Intel and she's got business. So our husbands go out and pimp Pampered Chef for us and we let them. And so think about that. And then again, if you have a sibling, my sister's best friends have done parties with me. So think of your sibling contacts. So we just rattled very quickly through the 6 letters in Frank's. My goal for you is that you wrote at least 5 or more names per letter. Is anybody looking at 30 contacts right now? Can you give me a thumbs up? Did you get at least 30 names or categories written down? And you might lie if you didn't, just to make me feel good. Anyone? Well, looky there, even Irene did it. If you don't have 30 or more names written down, that's your homework. That's your assignment, to go back and to dig a little deeper and to think, who else do I know? Where am I maybe holding back out of concern that you want to just open it up and go from there? So we talked about our business works best in a party. To have parties, we need hosts. And now the next step is, well, how do we ask these hosts to do parties? First of all, I need to define for you what asking is. Asking is always one-on-one, and it requires a response of yes, no, or maybe. So when we find out and you decide you're a new, like Wendy is brand spanking new. Yay! Wendy's probably going to go on Facebook and do a post about it. Amazing idea. And she'll be all cute and all excited. But guess what? That's not Wendy asking for a booking. That's Wendy announcing that she's a consultant. And even if she says, hey, let me know if you want to have a party, that's still not asking. That's just announcing, because a blanket let me know doesn't single out anyone. And I want you to put yourself in your friends' positions right now. If my friend came to me because I love jewelry and said, hey, Julie, I'm a new jewelry consultant. Do you think you'd like to be one of my first hosts? You know, our host program is so great, blah, blah, blah. I'd probably be like, sure, I'll help you out. But if she just posted on Facebook, I'm a new jewelry girl. If you want to have a party, let me know. I'm scrolling. I'm busy. I don't feel needed. I don't feel special. I don't feel singled out. So I'm probably going to let that pass because we're all busy and we want to say no. But if she took the time to message me, it's going to be a lot more enticing to me to say yes. And let's be honest, it's a lot harder for me to say no. I still can, and that's okay. But I just need you to know one-on-one is what asking is. And we really want to eliminate from our vocabulary, let me know. Those 3 words, out. Let me know is passive and awkward. So even if my girl messages me one-on-one, Julie, I'm doing jewelry, I'm super excited, let me know if you want to have a party, is actually still not asking. It's weird. Just don't say, let me know, just ask me. So what I want you to do is you start messaging, and I still do this myself. When I look at my phone before I press text or send a text, I see if there's a question mark. And still, there's times I'm missing a question mark. And I have to back up and go, well, you didn't ask a question. We must ask the question. So what do you think? Or do you want to have a party? So I'm going to post a sample of a lot of different ways that you can ask for bookings, and then you can tweak them and make them sound like you. I don't want to spend our time together right now, me reading out sample questions for you, how you would ask. But basically what you're going to see in the samples is that I'm always excited, not desperate. I'm never going to say, oh, Erica, I'm a new consultant with Pampered Chef. I kind of have to do 4 parties. Do you mind? Do you think you could do a party for me? Ooh, please no. Like, that's not excited versus, oh my gosh, Lindsay, I'm so excited. I just ordered my Pampered Chef kit. I'm a new consultant. I'm setting up my first parties. I thought of you because you're the life of every party. I'd love to spoil you and your friends. What do you think? Do you want to have a party? Night and day. Night and day. So you're always excited, not desperate. You don't say, let me know. And I usually start most of my texts with, I'm so excited because. And if you start with, I'm so excited because, the tone of that whole text or message is positive and exciting. Okay. So watch for those words. I'm going to post them. Now, we've got words to say. You know who you're going to ask. Now, how are you going to respond to them? And I'm, again, looking at my notes so I don't miss anything. Most people are not going to pop in right away and tell you, please, yes, Lori, let me have a party right now. I'm going to be honest. If you ask even 10 people, 7 may not even respond. That's the news. That's how it is. Now, what's wrong with those 7 people? Like, what? Let me tell you what's wrong with those 7 people. Some of them are busy. Some of them, you don't even know what they're doing. They could be in Costco fighting for toilet paper. They could be fighting with their kids. They could be swimming. And they glance at the phone, they put the phone down, and then 5 other messages come in and they forget you even asked them. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to grab yourself, Wendy, you'll like this as teachers. You're going to grab yourself a little composition book or a spiral notebook, and you're going to record the names. You guys, I record the names of people I ask because I revisit them, because 7 out of 10 won't respond. And we'll talk about that in a minute. Of the 3 that respond, when they say yes, you right away say, wonderful, my next opening is, and you line them up. And if you're doing virtual parties and you're starting them on Monday, today I had a girl say she wanted to have a party. I said, wonderful, my next party group starts on Monday, May 23rd or 22nd, whatever that is. How does that sound? Right away, you just plug them into your next batch of parties that you're doing. If they say no to hosting a party, you say, thanks for your quick response. Can I ask, Lindsay, is that no, not now? or no, not ever to hosting? Now, why do you think it's important to say, is that no, not now, or no, not ever? Any guesses? Sometimes they say no, not now because our house is under construction, or I'm worried my child has asthma and I don't want anybody, I'm stressed about the pandemic or whatever. But I would probably do one for you in June. And you're like, oh, my heavens, okay. And you write them down, and now you have a lead that you're going to contact in June. But if you don't ask that question and they just say no, and you go, okay, well, thanks for your quick response. Let me know if you change your mind. You have no future. It's really not pushy to say, is that no, not now, or no, not ever? And if they say it's no, not ever, I hate doing home parties, that's the end of the discussion. And you go, thanks for being honest, super appreciate it. If you ever need any Pampered Chef, don't forget I'm your girl. I'm your guy. Done. It's no big deal. But I'm going to tell you, 8 out of 10 times when someone says to me, no, and I say, is that no, not now, or is that no, not ever? 8 out of 10, they say, oh, it's just not now. Can you hook up with me in the fall? Or can we talk next month? And I go, oh, girl, let me tell you, next month is double host rewards. Yeah, let's do a party next month. And they're super excited. So get comfortable with saying, is that no, not now, or no, not ever? You know what to say when they say yes. You're going to plug them into your next dates, and you're looking to book 4 parties in a week. You get some energy. You get lots of momentum when you do that. Okay? Now, the 7 that didn't respond to you at all. 48 hours later, I go back to my list and I say, hey, Calvin, not trying to stalk you. I just want to make sure you saw my text. I'm super excited about setting up my first parties. Are you interested in hosting? That's all you say. Hey, not looking to stalk you. I just want to make sure you saw my text because I'm so excited to book my first parties. What do you think? Would you like to host? Now, Calvin could say back to me like, no, I didn't respond because it's a no. Okay. Is that no, not now, or no, not ever? You guys, you can handle any response. And then what you're going to often find is someone's going to say back to me, oh my gosh, thank you for following up with me. My kids got my phone, or I dropped my phone in the pool, or whatever. But yeah, let's talk. What do I have to do to be a hostess for you? You guys, that happens, but it won't happen if you don't do follow-up. So please plan now your follow-up, which means you write down the list of who you're going to do. So if you started a Frank's list, you can use that and put the date and make a few columns and say date, first contact, second contact, third contact. Sometimes, you guys, I don't hear from somebody even after the second follow-up, I don't want to stalk you message. And so I might do a third and say hey girl, seriously, I don't want you to think I'm bugging you. Did you see my text? Are you interested? Feel free to say no, but would you like to host? And then they'll come back with and say, well, no, I can't, or something, but I include the words in my third contact. Feel free to say no if this doesn't interest you, but I just wanted to make sure you saw this. What do you think? You guys, I don't take no's personally anymore. So I'm not afraid to say, feel free to say no. I'm not afraid to say, is that no, not now, or no, not ever? And you'll get there. You'll get there comfortably too. But just jot down those phrases and make them sound like your voice. But here's the difference between a concern a lot of new consultants have that I had when I started was, you can probably finish the sentence. I don't want to be pushy. Oh my gosh, I don't want to be pushy. Please don't be pushy. As your leader, one of your leaders, I don't want you to be pushy either. That's embarrassing. That's obnoxious. You know what a pushy person is? If I said, Wendy, do you want to host a party? And she said, no, I can't. And I said, okay, is that no, not now, or no, not ever? And she said, it's just no, not ever. I hate it. I go, why? Why? Why is it no, not ever? What do you mean? Why? You guys, that's pushy. But when I say one time to you, is that no, not now, or no, not ever? And you tell me no, not now, and we do a follow-up, or I track you down and say a second time or a third time reach out, that's being proactive, not pushy. And business people, to be successful, must be proactive. If you fall back too much in your head, I don't want to be pushy. That Julie girl told us things to do. That's pushy. You guys, it's not pushy. You become a pushover very quickly if you focus on the words, I don't want to be pushy. And guess what? If you're worried about being pushy, you won't be. It's the people that aren't worried about being pushy that I'm like, good night, nurse, someone put the brakes on that person. That's not going to be you. It's not going to be you because you're already worried about it. But if you will give yourself permission to be a business-minded, proactive person that doesn't wait or become passive for business, but actually is proactive, oh my goodness, you're going to have so much success in this business. Okay? So we've handled how our parties work, who to ask, how to handle a yes, no, or maybe. Can you believe all that we've done in just 30 minutes? Next thing, how do you handle some common objections? So if I said to Lindsay, what do you think about hosting? She said, no, I don't think so. And it's a soft no. Can you hear the difference between when I gave the example of Wendy saying like, no, I don't want to do a home party? Firm no. Lindsay says, I don't know. I don't even know if it's a good time to have a party because of the pandemic. Guess what? That's a soft no. Lindsay wants me to talk her into it, but she's just unsure. So what I would tell you is handle the soft no's or the objections with feel, felt, found. That's the method to overcome objections or soft no's. And again, this is just a skill that you will develop and get comfortable. So if Lindsay says to me, oh, I don't know because of the pandemic, should I have a party? I'm going to say, Lindsay, I totally understand how you feel. A lot of people felt that way too. But you know what we found is so many people are cooking at home more. They're super excited for the new recipes. If I promised you I wasn't going to pressure anybody to buy anything, would you want to reconsider and thinking about having a party? You guys, I have said that straight for 60 days. I've sold more products in the last 60 days than I did the first 4 months of the year or 3 months of the year. Like legit. It's crazy, the sales. But if I heard Lindsay say, I don't know if I should have a party because of the pandemic. And I went, yeah, you're right. You probably shouldn't. Where would we be? Nowhere. So learn the difference between a soft no and a firm no, and then use feel, felt, found. What if someone says like, I don't know, I don't think that, anybody has any money. I totally get it, Barb. I understand how you feel. I know a lot of people felt that way too, but you know what we found is people are realizing investing in their kitchen has been a great way to spend their money, and they're not eating out in restaurants. If I promised you I wasn't going to pressure anybody to buy, would you want to consider having a party anyway? So you handle feel, felt, found, and then reword it and ask the question again. And if I reworded it back to Barb and said, if I promised you I wasn't going to pressure anybody to buy, would you consider still hosting? She said, no, I'm just not comfortable. I would completely respect that. And I would say, do you want me to follow up with you in the fall? And she would probably say, yeah, call me in the fall. And then next thing for your list, my friends, is your maybe later list. And I have a maybe later list. And if you do a paper calendar like I do, I go to September and I would write down September leads, and I'd write down Barb's name, and I'd put a little dash, concerned about pandemic in the summer. And I would have notes of who I'm following up with. So have a maybe later list system in place so you don't lose track of the people that, or maybe someone's so grateful they get to leave Arizona, if you live in Arizona, and they escape to Oregon where it's cool and they don't want to do a party while they're in Oregon, but they'll do it when they get back when the kids go to school in August or whatever the case is. But you get the idea. Feel, felt, found, have a maybe later list, and just grow in your confidence that you can overcome the soft no's or the objections. Okay? All right, my friends, we're getting near the end in case you're fading on me. Okay. This is the fun part. What do you get? What do you get as a consultant? Well, hopefully you've heard and you've been in Dash. If you haven't been in Dash, get into Dash. There's amazing things for you to do in there. And they're also going to help you track your rewards and what you can earn. So y'all know in your first few days, when you submit $500, anybody know what you get? Ceramic egg cooker. Yes, Wendy knows, with the skinny scraper, those silicone scrapers. You get that plus your commission, right? When you submit $12.50 in sales, you get a non-stick fry pan. Or no, right now you're getting a cast iron skillet. Oh, I love the cast iron skillets. I just watched it. I just made chili for dinner. It's amazing. Then you're going to work your way up to another reward, and the big daddy is the knife block. With 5,000 in sales, you get the knife block, which is worth $369. And remember, these products are all bonuses on top of your commission. And this month, you guys, not only are you in the new consultant rewards, but as a whole company, all consultants are earning fall products. So you're double dipping like nobody's business. If there was ever a time to have a strong start, it's right now, because May and June, we are earning the products that are going to be in our September catalog. I don't want to buy those products. I want them for free. So let's earn them for free with what we sell and submit. We get paid for what we turn in a month. So it doesn't matter if you do it in May. If you don't turn it in May, it won't count for the fall sell-a-thon, and it won't count for your paycheck until you actually turn it in. So it's not like you're not going to get the money. It's just going to be a little bit later. So just remember that you get paid, and the rewards and the incentives count for when you turn it in, not when you do it. So you want to turn it in, and here's a little piece of motherly advice for you. If your deadline is May 31st, because that's the last day of the month, always give yourself a 48-hour cushion. If you wait till the last day of the month, when you get ready to turn that party in, that's when Pampered Chef runs the credit cards. If someone's credit card declines, that whole party goes into pause. And it does not come out of pause till you fix that declined credit card. Well, if it's 9:30 at night and you're turning in the party and now you can't get a hold of somebody, that whole party sits in pause and doesn't get submitted till you fix that credit card. So it's really important that you give yourself a 48-hour window. Y'all have a 30-day date and a 90-day date for your incentives that you get to be a part of. Give yourself a 48-hour window on that too. So for instance, if you have a 30-day date, which is actually 60 right now if you signed up in May, yay, what a bonus. But let's just pretend it's June 3rd. I would tell my family, I have till June 1st to reach this goal. Would you like to help? Do you have any products you want to order? Or my hostesses, I have till June 1st. You want to give yourself that 48 hours. That's the best piece of advice I could give you. You guys, there's nothing stressful about Pampered Chef except for working to deadlines. I mean, what's so stressful about a cast iron skillet? Nothing. What's stressful about a mix and chop? Nothing. But if you leave a deadline and you keep it too close, that is where the stress is. And you get to control that. Only people get to know their deadline what you tell them. And if you tell them they have till May 31st, they're going to take till May 31st. But if you tell them, I'm turning in my parties May 29th, that's the last day, we've got to get this party turned in, they will hustle up, and guess what? They'll get it to May 30th. That's honestly how it works. So that's my little piece of advice for you and your incentives. I don't want you to miss prizes. I've had people miss prizes, I'm not kidding you, by 5 minutes, because it's time stamped. It's not, the Pampered Chef's not a nice company. It's computer generated. And when you turn it in, it gives you a time, and that's how the rewards work. And there's nobody up there saying like, well, Erica's super sweet. I'm sorry her dog started throwing up and she needed 10 more minutes. It's too bad. So don't cut it close. It's just not worth it. Okay. So who's excited to earn some products? Who's excited to stock up your Pampered Chef kitchen? Who's going for the knife block, like in their first month? Yes, good. I see Lindsay's hands up too. You guys, we have a girl on our team. She sold $8,000 in her first month. So if you're not thinking bigger, now again, this isn't to make you feel bad if you don't. It's just that you don't sell yourself too short. There is so much potential here. Go big. Go big. You can do it. Now, there's 2 other things I'm going to tell you about you can do as a brand new consultant in your first 90 days. And again, if you signed up in May, you got a bonus 30 days. But we're going to just say 90 days for our clarification. You get to earn cash. When you have people who want to do this too, and I'll tell you, every one of my best friends at one point came up to me and said, can I do Pampered Chef with you? And no one had trained me to be aware of that. So I was like, I don't know, maybe. When people sign up with you, you get a $100 bonus every time somebody signs up with you. If you're in your first 90 days, when they hit $12.50, you get $100 cash added to your check. And there's no limit to that. If you have 10 people join with you in your first 90 days, or in this case, 120, $100 for each of those when they sign up and hit $12.50 in their first 90 days. Now, when you do that, that's called your just cash bonus. There's also a second layer to that you can earn up to actually $3,000, but the first installment is a $500 fast cash bonus. And that bonus is for you when you have 5 people join your team and you do it, you and those 5 people all together sell $5,000 and you built a team. I'll go into a lot more detail if you want to know more, but you just basically need to know there's money on the table. I don't get those cash bonuses anymore. It's only for brand new people in their first 90 days. And here's the deal. You're most excited when you first get started. You're most kind of new and it's shiny. So don't be shy. And as you looked at your Franks list, I want you to think about the people that you think, you know what? Actually, I should just ask if they want to do Pampered Chef with me. It could be really fun. And I'm telling you, one of my very best friends signed up within 4 weeks of me signing up because she was like, you look like you're having fun. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so fun. She's like, let's do it together. And we were so nerdy. And we talked about taco rings and we talked about the food shopper. And like, it was so fun to do this business with a friend. So as you look at your Franks list, I'm going to challenge you to put a heart next to at least 5 names that you would love to work with and that you could say to them, hey, I don't know if you know, I'm a brand new consultant. We could do this together. It would be like the blind leading the blind. But my girl who's helping me would help you too. And we would help them just like we're helping you. Okay? So think about the cash on the table, the rewards, and get into Dash so you can understand it more or ask your director for more clarification. Okay? So final thing to tell you, if you've never hosted a party and you wonder, hey man, as I ask people to host parties, how hard will it be for them? Is it worth it? The host rewards are on the back of the catalog. Here's our current catalog. I always put my label on the front and on the back. And there's the chart that tells you what hosts get for free. This right here is amazing. It cost us no money. They get a ton of products and it does not come out of our commission check. That's a very big deal. Also, when guests want to pay with credit cards, does not come out of our check. That's huge. We don't take inventory. We don't have to buy a bunch of product, put it on shelves, ship it out. It goes straight from Pampered Chef to the guest or to the host. Huge, huge advantages for you. You can feel really good about offering our host rewards because it's a ton of stuff. And I don't know if any of you have recently hosted, but man, it's the best of the best. And I try to do other home parties to support other home parties, but I'm always looking at their rewards like, don't I get more? Like, I don't like those host rewards as much as Pampered Chef. They're really good rewards, so you can feel confident. Do not approach your friends to book parties and think they're doing you a favor. You're doing them a favor, right? Like, I'm doing them a favor. I'm giving them a fun party experience, and they're going to get a bunch of rewards because of it. So don't get flipped in your head the other way and be like, do you mind? Will you help me out? That means you think they're doing you a favor. First of all, if they're going to do a favor, it better be $1,000 show. But the truth is, you're doing them a favor, and everybody wins when someone has a party. And just remember, everybody wins. All right, so you're looking for 5 names who could do the business with you, and then everyone else is who could win, who could want to host a party with you. Okay? All right, so here's the challenge that I'm going to give you before I open up for questions. My challenge to you is to, if you have not set up a grand opening with your director or the person who signed you, is to get a grand opening party set up. Remember, we want you to pay off your kit in your first week or 2. So grand opening party, I know Wendy's is underway. I don't know if anybody else has a grand opening party going. Reach out to your director, your recruiter. If there's any problems, reach out to me. You can friend me on Facebook. We can be friends. Even if I'm not your director, I can help too, but you all have amazing directors that can support you. But you want to do a grand opening party. And as that grand opening party is going, guess what your task is? 4 parties to book for the following week. Who's going to book them? The people off your Franks list that you wrote at the beginning and the people that attend your grand opening party. And your goal at Pampered Chef is to do 4 parties in 1 week. You get to decide how many weeks you want to work in a month. Do you want to work 1 week and do 4 parties and then you're done? Or do you want to do 4 parties in the first week and the 3rd week of the month and then you're done? Or do you want to do 4 parties a week every week? If you do that, that'd be about 16 parties a month, and you'd be making between $1,000 and $1,500 a month by doing 4 parties. Okay? Now, I'm talking virtual parties. Once we're out of quarantine and we can all do cooking parties, that's another conversation altogether. But for the most part, we're just talking virtuals. It's just as easy to do 4 virtuals as it is to do 1. And when you do 4 in a week, if one of your hosts is a dud and they kind of drop the ball, you still have 3 great parties. But if you just do 1 and that's the week that she's a dud, you're going to be really discouraged. So I stopped doing parties alone. I think of virtual parties work best in bunches. Like grapes come in a bunch, parties work well in a bunch. So I bunch my people together. I put all 4 hosts in one group, and we call that a block party. And we're going to have some extra training coming up on that, but you can ask your director or your whoever signed you up how that works and how you choose to do it. But the goal is, for an ideal biz, it's 4 parties in 1 week. You just decide how many weeks you want to work. Okay? Now, my challenge to you is to get 4 parties booked right after your grand opening in 4 different social circles. So what do I mean by that? When you look at your Franks list, I don't want all 4 from the relatives letter or all 4 from the neighbors. What if you had 1 from friends, 1 from relatives, 1 from the, how quick could your business bloom? Really fast. The danger is doing all 4 parties just from your neighborhood. And then they're crossing over each other, and then they're like, hold on, I'm gonna wait. And you just don't get quite the bloom that you would get. When you're intentional and you get 4 circles going, then that gets 4 more circles and 4 more circles. And that's the key to the magic here. Most people tell me when they start, I'm afraid I'm gonna run out of bookings. And I say, I get it. I understand what you're saying. So let's be intentional and start this business in 4 distinct social circles. And then from each of those parties, you're booking 2 to 3 new parties that are gonna then take you out and take you out. So that's your challenge, is to have your grand opening party set. If it's not already going, get it scheduled within the next 48 hours. And then 1 week later is 4 parties in 4 different social circles. Now, some of you are gonna just get on a roll, and we've had a girl sign up and she had 10 parties booked. And we're like, okay, 5 this week and 5 your week too. There's a lot of different ways to do this, but I'm just kind of giving you the minimum guidance on how you want to start that. And if that feels heavy to you, I want you to remember the airplane. And I want you to remember, I want this off the ground. And I want to prove to whoever, kind of gave me their blessing to sign up, that this was a good decision. When I started, my husband did not want me to sign up. And my husband is super sweet and great, but he was like, I don't know. I don't think this is a good idea. And I said to him, will you give me 90 days? And after 90 days, if you don't like this, I'll retire. And here he is now, like, woman, when's your next party? Can you get to work? Click, do this. So if you are talking to any friends that want to do Pampered Chef, but they're unsure, or their spouse or their supportive person says, I don't know if I want you to do this, ask them if they'll give them 90 days. Just give me 90 days to try it. And so I want you to give this your best effort for 90 days and see what you can do with it. Okay? All right. So we have 10 minutes left for questions. You can put your question in the chat bar, or you can unmute, because we haven't heard anybody's voice but mine for a long time, and I need to drink some iced tea. So who has a question for the chat bar, or unmute and let's hear your voice?
I had a question about like other social media platforms for virtual parties, like starting one on like Instagram and then moving to a platform like Facebook. Like, is that something that like you have done, or like is there any advice for like moving to different social media platforms?
Lindsay, I love that question. I personally have not done it. I do know there's a couple of girls on our team that have done parties in Instagram. And then, it's a different deal because you don't make a group and you don't do that sort of thing like how we run our parties on Facebook. But if you've got a strong following, I will tell you, I just got a little more serious about my Instagram account. And I've gotten at least 3 bookings in the last month that I know are a direct result from my posting. They're like, hey, you talked me into it. I need to have a party and get the blender. Hey, you talked me into it. So I haven't ran my parties on Instagram, but I've definitely created desire for products on Instagram. So if you want to know more, Lindsay, too, I can even connect you with one of the directors on our team who did a party on Instagram. So if you want to message me, I will be happy to connect you to get even more details. Does that sound good?
Yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Good question. Good question. Who else has a question? Did pretty good. We talked payday. We talked prizes. We talked about no deadlines. We talked about not saying we don't want to be pushy. All right. If you think of something and you need anything, again, you can talk to me. You can talk to your director. It's an exciting time to be a consultant. It's a really exciting time. So I'm super happy you're on our team. If you need anything, reach out. Have fun with your business. Remember, this is your fun job. There's nothing stressful about food choppers and cast iron skillets. So just have a good time. And thanks for joining tonight. Have a good rest of your night. Bye-bye.